.223 really is hard to beat.
People shoot deer with it all the time.
Yeah, it's not popular in some places, and it's not even legal in some places. But it's used for it, and it's really effective, but it's been missing one thing: heavier bullets.
Yes, and that's what this brings in. It stays in the AR platform, but it can stabilize those heavier bullets and push them a little bit faster.
Ha! Can you prove it?
Enough talk, let's shoot.
We've got rifles, we've got chronograph, we've got targets, we've got trigger fingers. Let's go. So here's the deal. The ARC cartridge is offered in 4 different sizes, and I think the only place you can get it right now is Hornady. This thing's pretty new. So we've got a 62 grain load, a 75 grain, and an 88. Now in your 223s, traditionally those are loaded with 40 grain bullets up to perhaps 55, maybe a 60. Now when you go to the 5.56 NATO version of that, same size cartridge, they allow a little more chamber pressure in the military version, and they also twist their barrels more quickly, as much as 1 in 7. And that will stabilize these big bullets, but it's a little harder to find loads for them.
Yes, and it also depends on the rifle manufacturer, depending on whether they're going to put a twist rate that fast, actually.
So basically, if you buy a 223, you're going to probably get a 1 in 12 twist barrel. It's kind of the standard. You might find some in 110. These days, they're starting to twist them a little faster. But if you get a 5.56, almost always you're going to have a 1 in 8, 1 in 7, or at least a 1 in 9.
Yes.
But you got to pay attention if you want to compete against this ARC. Whereas the ARC is coming with 1 in 7 twist barrels, I think, pretty much in everything.
Yeah, and I think that the real benefit that we could try and figure out for you guys and your benefit is, should you make the switch?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want to figure out.
Should you make the switch between the cartridges?
Is it worth it?
They both fire in a mini action like this Howa 1500 right here.
Or an AR-15.
Or an AR-15. If you want to come hang out with Ron Spomer, Joseph Von Benedict, and myself, check out my elk hunting boot camp, where we will teach you how to locate elk, how to stalk elk, how to call elk, and some key foundational skills on how to hunt in the West. Nestled in the beautiful mountains of Southeast Idaho on Day Mountain Ranch with beautiful state-of-the-art facilities and beautiful views. Joseph, Ron, and myself have a lifetime of experience under our belts. And if you want to come and learn from people that really care about your success, check out my elk hunting boot camp at processbasehunter.com.
All right, now we went and did a little research on who's getting what. You always get different ideas on the loads. What was the barrel length? We tried to find barrels of 24 inches for both of them, full house loads, and kind of get an average of the top end velocity. So with the 223 firing a 62 grain bullet, we zeroed that thing at 230 yards. Because what we're trying to do is maximize our potential for our reach with each of these cartridges. And if you zero everything at 200 yards, it doesn't really give you accurate numbers. You've got to reach it out there to its maximum point blank range. In other words, by aiming dead center, we're keeping all of our bullets inside of a 4-inch circle.
Yep.
They fly no higher than 2 inches, drop no farther than 2 inches. That's how we determine the ideal zero distance to keep on target of a coyote, for instance. So when we do that, we find that we've got a zero range of 230 yards with this 223 shooting a 62 grain bullet. At 300 yards, it drops 4.5 inches, and the wind, 10-mile-an-hour right angle wind, 6.85 inches of deflection, and you're hanging on to 824 foot-pounds of energy. Now you move into the arc. You want to read these arc numbers for us?
Yeah, I can give you the arc numbers.
What's your zero range on that
So the zero range on this, instead of 230 yards, is actually 238 yards.
A little more distance. You got
a little bit more
flatter
distance.
trajectory.
300 yards, you have 3.61 inches of drop.
About an inch difference.
About an inch difference. Windage, you have 6.44. So about
not much difference.
Oh, that's not even 2 inches. That's not even an inch. Half inch?
Yeah, not even a half inch.
Energy, you're at 912 pounds.
Okay, a little more energy. So you're starting to see the advantage already, even though we're using the same bullets, but you got a little more powder, and that's what's happening.
I also think that something that's interesting here is if you have the same BC bullet, even if it's being shot just a little bit slower, is going to have similar wind deflection. Yeah,
it's the BC that really makes a difference on wind deflection.
Yes.
A little velocity helps, but that really makes a difference. Hey, let's just jump out to 1,000 yards to be stupid here. I'm getting out of a 223 at 1,000 yards. I'm getting like, oh yeah, right, buddy. But I'm sure somebody's done it. 297.25 inches of drop.
That's a lot of drop. I have 264.58.
Whoa, so we're looking at, gosh, almost 3 feet of difference.
3 feet of, when you think about that, it's like, oh, that's not that many inches, but 3 feet is
3 feet's a lot.
That's the difference between a hit and a miss.
Yeah, okay, and what do you got for deflection in the wind?
I have 98.37 inches.
I would get a little advantage with you then, because the 223 has 105 and a half or so.
Okay. So
But for energy, oh boy, I'm hanging on to 210 foot-pounds.
you have half of a 45 ACP at the muzzle is what you got.
All right, so a little bit of advantage. Is it worth it though? Is it worth switching? If you already have a 223 you really like, is it going to pay off to get an arc?
I just say that you can probably get a little bit heavier twist or a faster twist rate. I'd stay with a 223 on that one.
Well, let's go to a 75 grain bullet. Now you're going to have trouble with your 223. It's not going to stabilize it unless you got a fast twist barrel version or a 5.56 with a fast twist.
Yes.
All right, then let's shoot a 75 grain bullet. I'm going to stick at 220 yards is all I'm getting for my maximum point blank range.
I'm still at 231 yards.
Okay, so I'm dropping 5.8 inches at a 300 yards.
I'm at 4.2.
All right, so we got about 1.5 inches advantage
Yep.
to the arc. Now I'm drifting 6.4.
I'm at 5.69 in windage drift.
A little more advantage, 904 foot-pounds.
I'm at 1,081.
500 yards, 39.6 drop.
31.84.
Ooh, 8 inches. 19 inches of deflection in the wind.
I have 16.9.
Yeah, 3 inches, 658 foot-pounds, thump.
I have 798.
I'm losing bad, guys. I don't even want to bother at 1,000. 312.6 of drop.
Holy crap.
312 inches. How do you measure that much?
I have 255.47.
255. That's more than 60. That's, oh my gosh.
That's
5 feet, more than 5 feet of drop.
5 feet difference.
Like if somebody aimed at your head, they'd hit you in the feet. Whew. 280 foot-pounds of power.
I have 343, roughly the same as a light load out of a 45 ACP at the muzzle.
You really like that 45
I
ACP.
love a 45 ACP.
Okay, we're starting to see more advantage with this. Okay, going to the big heavyweights. 88 grains. If you're going to be shooting deer, might be something to consider.
Yeah, and they make a lot of good deer hunting loads in a heavier 22 caliber bullet.
Oh, and they also have one that we don't have here, which is the copper bullet, the CX.
Oh, yeah.
Hornady CX bullet. That's designed for hunting,
Yep.
and that one's going to probably do pretty well for you.
Yeah, I mean, people shoot deer with a 243 and an 80 grain bullet all the time.
Poachers shoot them with a 22 short all the time. Don't go there. All right, let's take the 22 arc for you,
Yep.
223 for me.
Yep.
This time, the 88 grain bullet, we're struggling here now. We're gonna squeak it out. If we use a 24-inch barrel, we should get 2,750 foot-pounds of velocity at the muzzle. What are you getting out of that arc?
I am getting, at the muzzle,
Yeah.
I am getting 2,820 feet a second.
So it's
a little
not a
bit
heck
of
of a lot, 100,
70 feet.
not quite 100 feet per
75.
second. Yeah.
Which is good, not great.
All right. Well, let's see what's going to happen now. 270 yards is where I'm going to zero this baby.
I have 212 yards.
See, you got another little slight advantage over
Slight
me. It's not that
advantage.
much. 300 yards, dropping 7.27 inches.
I'm going 6.53 inches.
Deflection in the wind, 5.8.
I'm 5.6. We're 0.2 inches off. is
That's
all.
close.
But that just goes to show you how much BC does affect the bullet.
Yeah, you get a big, long, heavy, high BC bullet like that, and the wind deflection doesn't vary that much with a little bit of change in velocity. Something nice to know. Energy, I am hanging on to 1,000 foot-pounds.
I am at 1,066.
Nah. All right, 500 yards, I got 43.7 inches of drop.
I have 40.74.
17.2 of windage.
I have 13.2, so I'm a
5
little better.
inches. 768 foot-pounds.
I'm at 813 is what I'm at.
But do notice, though, with both of these, we're hanging on to more energy with that heavier bullet.
Yes.
Which is why I say that's a good option for deer to keep your weight up in these little bullets. It makes a big difference.
It does.
Okay, not that foot-pounds are what kill it, but
It's better sectional density. It drives through a little bit better.
Yeah, it's gonna have good penetration with it. 1,000 yards, 318.2 of drop.
I have 299.1, which, I mean, that's significant, 20 inches, but you're actually seeing a shrink in the margins right here.
Yeah, it seems like
Right.
one of these heavier bullets in there, the 223 is coming closer.
It is.
Maybe we found a real hot load that somebody put up. Probably blow your rifle up. Again, be careful about these things, guys. Well, let's see. Do we have any energy left? We got 369 foot-pounds.
I have 392 foot-pounds.
Yeah. And I don't worry too much about the foot-pounds, guys. At 1,000 yards, you shouldn't be shooting any living things with a 22 of any kind.
Yeah.
Now, let's get shooting these babies.
All right, let's do it. What I'm interested to see is if we actually come close. Now, this is a 22-inch barrel. We went with a 24-inch barrel because that's what we could find the most load data on for both cartridges. But if we can come at least close with the 22 arc out of what they have advertised.
All right, what have you got loaded up? The 62 grain?
I have the 62 grain bullets.
All right, this is the 62 grain ELD VT, which is a varmint tipped bullet, but it's hollow behind the tip. That's kind of cool. So you got most of the lead in the shank and a hollow nose, but there's that tip to keep things high BC. Really cool. Efficient.
Now let's do a 3-shot group is what we'll do.
Yeah.
And we'll take an average velocity out of each 3.
All right.
Okay, you ready? What on earth? Whoa, those last 2 were close, Ron.
Yeah?
But I'm hitting right where I'm aiming.
What kind of group did you get?
The last 2 were like that.
3,214 feet per second.
Yep.
And they're advertising 33.
Yep.
So you were shooting at the top target, center. Well, I'm going to go to the upper left.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got about an inch group, but yours looks pretty sweet. We'll check those later. Let's shoot them in the other ammo, huh? All right, I'm just going to straight across to the right side, aiming at the same spot. Hit quite a bit to the left with this different load. Right in the same spot. I don't know about the gun, but something's working. This little Howa Mini is really sweet. Wow. So what target you aiming at?
Low left.
2815.
I have no idea what my group was there, but so there's one.
That was my 75 grain group, right?
I think I jerked that one.
This is my 62.
Yep.
75.
And then there's my 88 right there.
So you got about an inch group there, and something happened there.
I jerked it.
Jerky?
I jerked it.
Are you telling me you're a jerk?
Well.
Tate, see if you can hit that 300-yard coyote out there.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, baby! You nailed him. You skin him out, I'll go get the truck.
Beautiful.
The diamond blade. Don't cut yourself. Well, guys, we shot this rifle quite a bit. 3-shot groups.
Oh.
I ended up shooting 3 groups that are at a half minute of angle, or just a smidge over one of them was. And that was with 2 different loads, the 75 grain bullet and the 88 grain bullet.
That's impressive. And even with a 22-inch barrel, we came pretty close with this Howa 1500 to matching the velocities we had for the 24-inch barrel. But the real question is, should you sell your 223 that you currently own and get yourself a 22 arc? I would say no. If you've already got a 223 that you're plinking and shooting with, as long as you have a little bit faster twist rate and you're not trying to shoot 500 or 600 or 800 yards with your 223, I just keep the 223.
Yeah, especially if you're shooting inside of 400 yards, what most folks are doing for even coyotes.
Fine, yeah.
Most of my coyote hunting, I'm taking everything inside of 400. Really, most of it's inside of 200 because you're calling it.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I agree. You really don't need to drop out your 223. If it shoots 50 to 55 grain bullets pretty darn well, I think you're going to be happy. But you know what? I'm going to get one of these. Not because I think the 22 arc is that much better than the 223, but when you combine it with the precision shooting of this particular rifle,
you're getting
why would you get rid of this rifle? Well, this one did it. Not very many do it, but I've had a few over the years, and this is an amazingly impressive rifle for its price class. I mean, gee whiz.
I think the key takeaway here is, why settle? Just buy both.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Our takeaway is we're going to shoot a little faster with this new arc. You're going to have the faster twist barrel. You'll be able to handle the bigger, heavier, longer, high BC bullets, less wind deflection, all the rest of it.
Yep.
If that appeals to you, you might want to look into one of these. If you like your 223, we're not going to twist your arm and make you get one of these. So, what do you think? If you guys enjoyed this presentation and you want to see more like it, subscribe to our channel, help us out, and let us know what you think. If you want more like this, we can obviously do more like this.
I agree with that.
You buy all the rifles and the ammo, and I'll shoot them, and we'll do well.
I guess that's a good trade. But in the meantime, hunt honest and shoot straight.
Hunt honest and shoot straight. Except for little rodents.
Yeah.
But deer is ridiculous.
No, if you shoot at a deer at 1,000 yards with a 22 arc,
I'm going to personally come over and kick you.
no, we won't kick you, we'll slap you.